Donald Trump repeatedly warned that the government was involved in a kind of fraud that undermined the legitimacy of its processes. Most notably, he claimed that the electoral system was rigged. Here's a detailed explanation of what he meant and the context behind these claims. Trump argued that the 2020 presidential election was compromised by widespread fraud. He claimed that millions of illegal or phantom votes were cast, particularly via mail-in ballots, which he argued had been manipulated to produce a predetermined outcome. According to Trump, the electoral system was not just experiencing isolated errors, but was part of a deliberate, orchestrated effort by what he sometimes referred to as the deep state or entrenched government bureaucracies. He contended that these groups were working with political opponents and even some judges to overturn the will of the voters. Beyond just the election, Trump often spoke about a broader problem of corruption within the government. He alleged that many institutions, from intelligence agencies to local election boards, were compromised. This was part of his narrative that a corrupt establishment was undermining American democracy. Trump also criticized mainstream media and certain technology platforms, arguing that they were complicit in hiding or downplaying evidence of fraud, thus enabling the alleged rigging of elections. By sounding this alarm, Trump sought to mobilize his base. His claims resonated with many who were already distrustful of federal institutions and the media. This rhetoric helped fuel protests, legal challenges, and widespread debates about election integrity. Despite these assertions, numerous audits, recounts, and court cases found no evidence to support claims of widespread fraud. Election officials, including many Republicans, repeatedly stated that the election results were secure and that the processes were fair. Trump's focus on alleged government fraud was as much a political strategy as it was a call to address any potential irregularities. By casting doubt on the electoral process, he positioned himself as a defender of true democracy against an allegedly corrupt system. Even after the official results were certified, these claims have continued to influence public discourse. They have led to lasting debates about election security, transparency, and the role of government institutions in safeguarding democratic processes. In 2025, Donald Trump remains active in promoting his long-standing narrative about election fraud and government corruption. Although many of his earlier lawsuits have been dismissed or resolved, Trump's legal team continues to explore avenues related to election integrity. Even if these challenges haven't altered official outcomes, they reinforce his narrative among supporters. He's also been involved in endorsing political candidates and influencing policy debates within the Republican Party, particularly around election laws and government accountability. Trump maintains a strong presence on conservative media and uses his own platforms to share his views. His commentary often focuses on the need to reform what he describes as a corrupt system, which resonates with many of his followers. By leveraging media outlets that align with his views, he continues to shape public discourse on election legitimacy and government transparency. Beyond rallies and media appearances, Trump is working behind the scenes to build a network of political allies. This includes supporting candidates who pledge to uphold his vision of a fair electoral process, and pushing for legislation that emphasizes stricter election protocols. His influence remains significant in shaping the Republican Party's stance on issues related to election security and government oversight. In summary, even in 2025, Trump's strategy involves keeping the narrative of government fraud and corruption alive through public appearances, legal challenges, media engagement, and political endorsements. His ongoing efforts continue to mobilize his supporters and impact political debates, despite a lack of substantiated evidence from official investigations and courts.